everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Team Daddy Weekly Recap. I am your host, Shapiro the Hero, aka Daddy Dreidels. Just a few weeks ago, the league had a pretty clear separation between contenders and pretenders, but now, half the teams in the league all have the same record, causing absolute mayhem at the bottom of the standings. How did we get here? Well, as always, I'll take you around the league looking at the Week 10 results and the clusterfuck standings they caused right after this word from our sponsor. This week's sponsor is Advantage Rent-A-Car. Once a fierce competitor to the big-name brands like Enterprise, Hertz, and Avis, Advantage has since filed 3 different Chapter 11 bankruptcy claims and now currently operates just a small fleet in select locations across Central Florida. Advantage Rent-A-Car. Get the advantage. We'll kick off this week's recap with our hottest team, Big John, putting his 5-game win streak on the line against George. And while this one was a lot closer than most people would have predicted, it was still Big John keeping his win streak going with a 148.8 to 121.1 win over George. Jackson Dart led the scoring for Big John with 28.7 points, and Big John also got 20.7 points from Tez Johnson. It was another overall solid team performance from Big John, as only one position player on his team scored less than 10 points. On the other sideline, George was led by Jared Goff with a whopping 37 points, but could not generate much offense elsewhere, either in his lineup or on his bench. With this loss, George drops to 4-6 along with half the league, but finds himself in a tough spot as he has the least points scored among all teams across Team Daddy. He will try to get back on track in a Week 11 matchup against me. Meanwhile, Big John is now 8-2 and riding a 6-game win streak. He will try for lucky number 7 next week when he takes on Steve. Speaking of Steve, he lost a tough game to PJ this week, falling 166 to 141.05. The commish was led by Trey McBride with 35.2 points, and he also got 27.2 points from Lad McConkey. Like Big John, PJ got contributions from up and down his lineup as no position player scored less than 12 points. As for Steve, he was led by Nico Collins with 30.1 points, but his comeback hopes on Monday night were dashed with that stinker of a game. Seriously, what an anticlimactic way to end what was otherwise a great week of football. Despite the loss, Steve is now 6-4 and still holding on to a playoff spot. He will try to right the ship after back-to-back losses when he faces off against Big John next week. Meanwhile, PJ gets back in the win column and joins the peloton at 4-6. He will go for back-to-back victories next week when he takes on Jed. Turning now to Jed's matchup against Zach, this was another high-scoring game that could have come down to Monday night. But when the dust settled, it was Zach who emerged victorious, beating Jed 177.7 to 152.4. Jahmyr Gibbs led the scoring for Zach with 50.2 points, and Zach also got 28.8 points from Drake May. In a wild side story, Zach's defense was actually his third highest scoring player, as the Seahawks D put up 23 points to help secure the W. On the other sideline, Jed was led by Jackson Smith and Jigba with 25.8 points, but also fell victim to the shit show on Monday night, as A.J. Brown did absolutely nothing to help Jed try to overcome his deficit. Now at 5-5, Jed has lost consecutive games for the second time this season. He will try to turn things around in Week 11 as he takes on PJ. Meanwhile, Zach improves to 7-3 and looks to have turned a corner after back-to-back wins. He will try to make it 3 in a row next week when he faces off against Swans. Speaking of Swans, he finally found the winner's circle again after feeding Josh 140.4 to 118.25. Travion Henderson led the scoring in this one with 42 points, and Swans also got 29.4 points from Josh Allen. This was Swans' second win in as many weeks after losing 5 straight, and it may have saved a season. On the other side, Josh was led by Josh Jacobs with 22.2 points, but picked the wrong week to shit the bed. He still sits in a playoff position at 5-5, but will need a win to stay ahead of the pack of 4-6 teams closing in on him. That pack includes Swans, who will look for his 3rd win in a row next week against Zach. Meanwhile, Josh will take on Kyle in a must-win game for both teams. And on that note, Kyle was able to get himself a win this week, thanks to a 204.4 to 99.7 beatdown of Brett. Jonathan Taylor led not just Kyle's team, but all scorers this week with 67.6 points, earning Kyle $10 to go along with his victory. Kyle also got 31.4 points apiece from Chris Olave and Jameson Williams, as he put up the second most points in the league this week. As for Brett, he was led by Kyron Williams with 23.9 points, but you know it's never good when your entire team is nearly outscored by a single player. Following this result, both Brett and Kyle are 4-6, but the bigger story here is the fact that Brett has now lost 4 games in a row. He'd better figure it out quickly if he wants to have any shot at the playoffs this year. Brett will take on Armenti in Week 11, while Kyle will square off against Josh in a pair of games that could have massive playoff implications. Our final matchup of the week saw Armenti and I facing off in a battle of two teams trending in opposite directions. I came into this one feeling confident for a change, riding a 2-game win streak, while Armenti had lost back-to-back games and was definitely feeling nervous. And rightfully so, as I was able to come away with a decisive 228.75 to 141.1 victory over Armenti. My team was led by Devon Achan with 53.5 points, and I also got 31-point games from Drake London and Baker Mayfield. To top it all off, I earned $20 this week as the highest scoring player in Week 11, but I decided to relinquish my music choice rights to Steve, as his honor was denied with my not doing a recap in Week 8. And right now I'm really regretting that choice, but I am an honorable man and I will stand by my decision. Anyway, Armenti's team was led by Matthew Stafford with 37.7 points, and while he did not perform poorly, it was a tough week for Armenti. He now drops to 4-6 after his third straight loss, but will try to turn it around next week when he takes on another struggling team in Brett. Meanwhile, I have now won 3 in a row to get to 500 for the first time since Week 2. I'll go for a 4th next week when I face off against George. Here are the Team Daddy standings as of Week 10. Big John remains atop the standings at 8-2 and continues to look like the team to beat this year. He is followed by Zach at 7-3 and Steve at 6-4. Next up are myself, Jed, and Josh, all at 5-5. Now here's where things get fun. Everyone else in the league is 4-6, separated by points scored, which leaves 6 teams fighting for 2 spots. Kyle and PJ currently hold those 2 spots, but Armenti trails PJ by only 3.3 points. Behind him are Swans, Brett, and George, who all need to find another gear if they want to make a late season push. With so many teams clustered together at the bottom of the standings, points have never been at more of a premium. As we near the end of bye weeks and players start to return from IR, it will definitely be interesting to see how things shake out down the stretch. Remember to set your lineups and watch the waiver wire because you never know who's going to end up being the X Factor. Thank you as always for watching. This has been your Team Daddy Weekly Recap. I am your host, Shapiro the Hero, and I will see you next time. L'chaim, motherfuckers!